Hello and welcome to the AEW Dynamite preview. I'm Michael Sidgwick, joined by fellow Dudley boy Michael Hamflett to discuss everything that's in store on tonight's show. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts where we preview and review Dynamite, Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have wrestler interviews on occasion, roundtable discussions. Sometimes we even answer your questions, and we host, potentially not this week, that part-timer's not here, a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. Hamflett. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Dynamite tonight?
I've got lots of thoughts on that intro. How quick does the pendulum swing in there's business yesterday? And it was so lovely that they did this, where you stopped and paused and wanted to take time to explain to any listeners or viewers that weren't aware of, not that we couldn't have plugged it enough, Wilborn's busy day on Sunday with all of our live shows.
Wilborn's busy day.
Not to mention the fact that he was taking notes during All In so we could do the video afterwards, and then the brilliant shift he did at Sweet Chin Disco. You just stopped halfway through. It was so lovely. He's off sick today. Send him your best wishes. Probably as a result of the things they're just putting him over for. Part-time. Asshole piece of trash.
Part-timer?
He's a piece of street trash.
He's street trash.
He's street trash.
Street trash.
Speaking of swinging pendulums, is the power back?
Well, I think the way that AEW is systemically, the power can never be back.
Okay.
The days of February 2020 are unrecoverable. That 2021 buzz of, wrestling's just the best thing of all time, and the pendulum has swung from WWE to AEW, and the Fed's dead, baby. Fed's dead. I think the way it's ran now, and the horror stories you hear about the admin and all the rest of it, I think, systemically, it can never be back. And, the days of 2021, as much as I've variously enjoyed Ospreay, Okada, Money, it doesn't have that same, oh my God, fact errors, Punk Danielson, and the work and the level isn't quite there. So you're not going to get that free agent swing, and surely at this point no one's left. So they haven't left themselves enough to get the power back. That doesn't mean that, but when I talk about the feeling and the power, I'm talking literally about the greatest of the greatest of the greatest of all time.
Yes.
It can just be unbelievably awesome, and that's how I'm feeling about it right now.
Yeah, because that main event was unbelievably awesome, wasn't it? It's we're not going to do. I'd like to think we're not going to do bad faith digs at attendance numbers, but we can acknowledge that they're small. Or you can acknowledge when a building doesn't do too well.
Oh dear!
When that guy rocks up in town, not a lot of other people have domestically, and it's a problem off the back of a show like All In, because 50,000 people, whether down from 80,000 or not, is 50,000 people.
It's at a point now where I have a lot of issues with AEW at the same time as broadly really enjoying it. Yeah. That was before All In just ignited something within me. I'm looking at a photo collage in my mind, right? The moves stalemate between Danielson and Ospreay, the main event of All In, the second and third casino gauntlets, Sting's retirement.
Sting's return.
There are so many great moments littered, studded across 2024. I'm at the point now, it doesn't deserve to be this cold. It just doesn't.
It's got we might not be going back to 5 figures for a while, but it's about time we started getting 5,000 people.
Yeah, I know.
The Cardiff Dynamite in the run-up, everything felt a bit of a mess. The promotion of it, the sales of the tickets, the whole organisation of it. Yeah, the price, the time at which it was taking place. On the night and in the aftermath, that looks like the preferable model for the US, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Find a building, maybe find a town that you've not ran, or find a place of that kind of number where people are just going to be loud and enthusiastic for your products, and everyone thrives. The wrestlers felt hotter again. The show it was a perfect go-home show, regardless of what was actually taking place on the show. It was a destination again, and it was close to the big destination. Yeah. They could strive to achieve that in these, especially now in the monthly pay-per-view cycles. You've only got maybe 4 weeks at a time to have to fill.
We've said a lot. I got one more thing about this broad philosophical overview of AEW, and then we will get into the preview. But I had one moment where I think it was Big Business, or the Dynamite leading up to Big Business, where I was like, I think the feeling's back, because Revolution was just so goated, and then I needed a trifecta Dynamite, like a really great TV. I got it, and I was like, that's back now. They've got Ospreay, Okada, went too early. I went too early on the power being back and stuff. But I said when we recorded the Turning Point podcast last year, in the wake of Paul White being on telly and Ric Flair getting hired and all the rest of it, it's going to take 6 full months at a minimum to finally gently restore that feeling. I feel like the Punk thing is finally over and done with.
Yeah.
I think no one's discourse about it anymore. I can't imagine anything getting resurfaced or whatever.
The real glass spot at Wembley was fun.
It was just fun.
Where we should be with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's finally done with, and I think I enjoyed a great deal of the television ahead of All In, a show that they took seriously, and the promotion paid off in the atmosphere. 6 more months of this.
Yep.
And no more bollocks, no more missteps, and we'll see. But you got anything else to say broadly?
No, not really.
Step on your dick?
No, I'm
jumping on your belt.
I am trying, as a result of the graphic that dropped last night and the follow-up from Tony Khan, to remain cautiously optimistic rather than simply depressed about the immediate turnaround.
Well, here's something as well. I'm in such a good mood with AEW at present. I had a euphoric time in London. The show itself was euphoric, the experience, everything.
What about All In, though? Because you're just referring to our life.
Yeah, of course. Watch out on YouTube. That will be coming up.
Watch out. Be warned. It's going to kick your ass.
I can do intros. I can't do plugs, and I can't do outros. I really can't. But we'll get to that, which you'll also get to. So I'm on air Twitter last night, and I see a match graphic drop, and I'm thinking, don't be a dick, Sidgwick. You're in a great mood. Don't do this to yourself. To the point where ordinarily I would have hopped straight on, and rest assured, I would have registered my disgust throughout the world. But I thought, I'm going to give them a chance here. Yeah. I'm going to give them a chance, but we'll get to that at the end. We will start with AEW Dynamite live from the State Farm Center, more like the Master Bait Farm Center, Champaign, Illinois.
Good stuff.
Per WrestleTix, 1,386 tickets out as at August 22. Oh, dear. So hopefully there'll be a walk-up. Hopefully the denizens of Champaign have watched All In and thought, convoy up and Dynamite. At which you will be able to listen to Bryan Danielson, God, the GOAT, addressing his future as AEW World Champion. Now, it's been suspected, or at least I've fantasy booked this, I expect other people have as well, that because the retirement is happening, or the soft retirement, the transition into a part-time role, his active full-time career is drawing to a close. Is he going to say it's sudden death?
I feel like that was what was in the ether when...
By which I mean, when he loses the title, he's done as a full-time guy.
Yeah, that felt like that was there for you to speculate on in the build to the Swerve match, didn't it? That was like almost part of the fun of building to that. Yeah. It's like, there is, of course, the possibility that he is not just a liar, but like a dirty, stinking liar. And he says something like, being around Birdie was wonderful and everything that made me realise I need to leave. But she was the one that told me to stay. She was like, Dad, I loved watching that.
I fell in love with wrestling.
And I want to see you do that even longer.
Andy the best, and I can easily infer that no one will ever be as good as you, so...
Those exact words. So he's going to address his future because that's what Birdie's told him to say. Which sort of cruelly would be quite fun because he could say, I'd stare retirement in the face and looking at my children, the very reason for me to retire, literally staring at them, telling them I love them, I realised that I need to do this to show my true love to them because they need to see the best version of their dad and all this sort of stuff. And then a heel retires him when it isn't his choice. Imagine when he does lose the title, it's like him having his neck broken or something. He sort of talks about wanting to go back into surgery, that kind of thing. Use it as a bit where, like, you know the end is coming, but they sort of subvert it a bit.
All right.
And have Danielson say, actually, yeah, we know it's, I'm close at the end and the beginning, but this has made me feel alive again. 3 my children. We're going to keep the train on the tracks, and then some heel down the line says, no, we're not, I'm going to derail that. And it's particularly brutal that he's lost his title and he's lost his career when he just had this last flush of love for pro wrestling.
Yeah.
ripped from him, something like that. He's got 2 matches to promote, so if nothing else, he's got those to discuss.
That's the thing. So that's an option, your idea. The idea as well that he could say, look, All In is something I've been doing my entire career. I'm going to go all in. I won the title at All In. I'm going to go all in on this title reign. Every time I defend it, I'm putting in every single chip, and I will lose, and I will retire from full-time active competition when someone dethrones me for that belt. So those are 2 options. Third option is he could allude to option A or B, and he's about to deliver some kind of bombshell when 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Christian Cage comes out. And again, like, the sleuths have been at it, not that, it's hidden information, but parallels have been drawn between Christian Cage and Bryan Danielson. What happened the last time that Bryan Danielson won a world title in a major stadium 10 years ago? Tragically, like, his father passed away like within weeks, which is genuinely tragic. But Christian Cage will not view it as that. He will do it as a funny bit for his quite incredible black comedy routine.
Yes.
Bring it up and say, I'm surprised you're having such a jubilant celebration. Because you know what happens? Does not remind you of what the last time?
Yeah.
Because it has come to my attention that your father is dead. That's Christian Cage's deal. That's his deal. So that's a way to build heat for that match.
2 weeks
could that happen Could that happen as soon as All Out? Because they're taking maybe it has to happen. It's looking to shape up All Out as a 3, the triple main event. Mm-hmm. This could be another one, but a better mood going into it.
Yeah.
So you've got Pac versus Ospreay, which will be positioned as your like ultimate state-of-the-art dream match, as we've done it in Rev Pro, but you didn't get a finish, you'll get one here sort of thing. Then you've got your ultimate grudge match, all but confirmed, I guess, at this point, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page. We can maybe go into what stip that might be. And then you've got a title match that, the greatest respect, you probably wouldn't expect as a proper AEW main event, but you can do the triple main event formula with All Out, being Danielson versus Christian Cage. Because I think if they if they insert somebody else into the mix, for a fact Darby's getting the title shot, and for a fact Christian Cage is getting a title shot at some point. If you add in a third option, that's probably a little bit too much to ask. Christian Cage versus Danielson feels all outy to me. They had a match on Collision that was wonderful. Yep. So run that back with the injection of like stakes and heat with that inevitable Christian Cage line. Feeling pretty good about All Out.
Yeah, me too. Page and Swerve has got like lights out, unsanctioned main event, hasn't it? Like those matches can go on last after a title match. There's previous in AEW for that anyway. So like, it was once upon it. They killed it a bit, but they've parked it for a while. Like Lights Out was getting overdone for a while.
It was. I think there was so many street fights masquerading. As a nut, as a Lights Out match.
Yes.
But I think that because of the aura and the violence that those two are capable of between them. That dynamic will elevate the stipulation.
Yeah, it's the hottest match AEW have got. It's the main event of any pay-per-view it goes on. But I don't think in Christian Cage, presents a problem to the booking. Genuinely, I don't. It's okay for Danielson to have a first opponent like a Christian. They can tease not just what Christian might say to Bryan, but what he also might say to Darby if he was to win the title. Like the speculation that people would have about what Christian would do with a Darby Allin if it's going to be them.
And he's already beaten Darby Allin.
It creates, doesn't it, enough of a believable set of circumstances, even if it's a 2-week build and Bryan has literally just won the title. There's no crueler character than Christian to want to just end all this joy in Danielson's life within 2 weeks of it happening. So it feels perfect to me. For All Out. So I do think we'll get there as early as tonight.
Ever since Dynasty, there's been a pretty great main event scene in that men's singles division.
I could have missed an obvious reference you were making here, so I apologise if that's the case. Was it your design in your layout of how the promo could go for Danielson to explain an option A, an option B, and then he's greeted by his option C, and then Christian Cage?
Not really.
I didn't think it would be. It's more me than you.
More you than me. Yeah. More you than me. 2 potentially linked talking points to get through next. One of which is we hear from Swerve Strickland, and in parallel, Hangman Page versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Wait, how's this happening?
I know.
Like, it's great, isn't it?
It's great. Do you think Swerve comes out after or whatever? It doesn't really matter. That's just format. Let's talk about the content of these two things. We'll do the Swerve Strickland. What's he going to say?
Ordinarily, it would be an amazing backstage at Wembley, drained, half shoot, half work, extremely emotional, but probably quite powerful use of the TV time in the context of somebody that had just lost the biggest but best match of their life. And it would be amazing. And we'd be, I would say, like the MJF one after Derby's used
that
standard,
was awesome.
But there's been loads of good ones. It would be that, but we have but 2 weeks to get to potentially the main event of this pay-per-view, so it probably could and should be in person. Swerve Strickland is a guy who, I think he was listening to the criticism of what happened after he won the title as much as anybody, and is now, like, he's taken maximising his minutes to the next level.
He's killed it.
Jim Ross will be buzzed with how Swerve has made use of his TV time. He did an interview just the other day from just before All In saying, look, whether it's Rampage, Dark Elevation, Collision, Dynamite, I've always seen those as valuable. It's valuable real estate in pro wrestling. Nothing has changed in that regard. So he will fight his way onto television live if they've got a pay-per-view to sell. Maybe that'll be a tell, actually. If he is just backstage, that would only leave them one Dynamite to book the match, which they could do because it's all good to go. But I think we'll see him in a live setting. I think he'll do the... he'll pivot back to being a straight-up babyface tonight. It's like, I knew I could go to like the darkest recesses of my soul to beat you, and yet you still beat me. Remember that I don't forget.
Yeah.
There'll be a day for you, Danielson, but like it's a handshake without being a handshake. Just not tonight. Because that's almost like a nice contrast. That sort of tacit respect from a Swerve Strickland is in total contrast to the complete disrespect he showed Hangman Page. It's the idea that like everything Swerve shows you about himself is everything Hangman Page feels. He's just let his emotions get too far out of control that you've lost your sympathy for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how they approach this. Will Swerve make... Because he was situational heel.
Yeah. But consistent.
Yeah.
And that's a babyface trait.
Yeah. So he was situational heel against Danielson. And if you trace everything back in this program, Hangman Page is kind of in the right.
Yes.
He's taken it too far.
Yeah.
And he's let it consume his entire being and essence and soul to the point where he's threatening horrible things to Karen Jarrett, etc. But he's kind of in the right, and Swerve Strickland's just cool. He's not right, he's just cool, and Hangman Page cannot sanction this idea. So I'm very interested in how they explore this dynamic. I'm also incredibly interested in Hangman Page versus Tomohiro Ishii, because Ishii is incredible. This Hangman Page character is incredible. As we mentioned on the All In review, I watched that goddamn Casino Battle Royale again last night. God damn it, that Casino Gauntlet. And in the ultimate testament to Hangman Page's new direction, he comes out and it's like, well, everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
The Ishii is... two things on this Casino Gauntlet before I preview this match and give you my thoughts on it. I was in such pop nirvana the entire time that the action was... I watched like the match, obviously, but it was almost incidental, and where you're sat in the stadium determines your viewing experience. Getting a closer look at the work in that was just so great.
I still need to watch it back for that reason, I think.
There's a goddamn spot where Orange Cassidy is about to orange punch Hangman Page, and then in one seamless motion, he counters it and dead-eyes him.
Yeah.
Like their chemistry was absolutely off the charts. Cassidy was phenomenal throughout. He has this exchange with a ZSJ who puts him in a European clutch, and it's just one of the best bits of technical wrestling you've ever seen.
I love when them two do that.
Yeah.
Zack Sabre Jr., like, think, oh, well, this time I'll get him. And then once again being surprised by Orange Cassidy, of all people, having a counter.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Hangman Page is in incredible form. The best, like, we watched the pre-show match as well, Ishii and Nightingale versus Stat and Stoke. And because he's Ishii, You think, Stokely Hathaway's just give him a spine buster. Oh, well, that sucks for him. Oh, no, he's popped back up because he can't be killed.
Yeah.
It's good when he's no-selling a comedy character, right? Because that's just, he's mastered that art. He's perfected that art. He's surpassed everybody else at that art. It's Ishii. Ishii no-selling this version of Hangman Page and how deadly his stuff looks.
Yeah. There
could be pro wrestling magic crafted tonight in the Masturbate Farm Centre. I could.
Masturbate Farm.
I'm trivialising it, but Hangman Page doing that that forearm to, I was going to say the neck. Ishii doesn't have one. The back of his head, or like just something disgusting, and then, nope, I'm Ishii, this is what I do. I reckon I could be doing the just bleed noise tonight.
Like a buckshot to the back of Ishii's head, but he only drops to a knee. And I'm going, he has to do it on the other side and hit him full in the face with it.
And then he pops back up again still.
As well, is this like the end of Ishii's summer holiday? Like, is he back to New Japan after this?
It's got an idea of Ishii with a 99, some ice cream on a beach now. Yeah, kiss me quick.
Working the Brighton Dome. Well, he probably has them forever. I don't know.
Just wearing a cord. I like a cord on holiday.
You do, don't you? Yeah. I like that. I don't think I could pull it off.
I can't. I just like wearing it.
But yeah, this is it, isn't it, for him? He's got to be... I thought like Wembley would have been the nice sort of send-off because he wasn't really tied to the Stat Willow thing. It was just a nice add-on, wasn't it? Add-on for the night. So he can put Hangman over as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get the most Hangman has to do to beat anyone just as a nice sort of, thanks very much.
This has got magical potential.
But then after that, I would... whether or not it's as simple as Hangman Page getting the win and giving him the mic and like, I know you're here. I'm sick of like other people telling me I can't get to you. I'm not gonna jump through hoops and win matches anymore. I'm not gonna let armies of security guards protect you because that's what he can say was happening at Wembley, even though he was the one invading the match. Basically, we're in the same building. Let's do away with the pretense. I always think of remember them having to say like, the showers at Daly's place are so far away. Otherwise, Cody Rhodes would be like, this is one of them feuds now that kind of needs the reality of...
we're in the same building.
Come on. There's only so many people that can be in locker rooms. Tonight, let's go. And whether it's as simple as a pull apart, I don't know. But that gets you to the match announcement as well, doesn't it? That gets you, Tony Schiavone or whoever, saying, Tony Khan's been in my ear and he's told me to tell Chris Daniels to get that match announced for All Out. You can do it as quick as that once you've had that last sort of confirmation they're both there. And, it's not even WWE would do the we can't touch each other, but that's sort of implied in the AEW interviews, isn't it?
Yeah.
The talent have agreed to.
You
can get one more week out of them being kept in separate parts of the building because we're just 5 days away. Or, I think we get.
Need a really direct
we get to the match graphic tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully the lights out stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I want to see some violence.
Yeah.
I'm a sick guy. We get the TV debut of Ricochet tonight. He goes up against Kyle Fletcher. This feels like two birds with one stone. You get a stupid head drop, insanely athletic match between these two, which will remind AEW fans, Ricochet, he was working at half speed or 0.75 speed in the Fair, but you're going to get 1.0 or like 1.75 Ricochet here in the dub. So that's one reason why this match is happening. The second, it feels like some bridge towards the inevitable Ricochet-Ospreay match. Yeah. Maybe Ricochet beats him, as a dick about it. Here's something. I'm really looking forward to this Ricochet run in AEW, right? Because, one, I want to see Ricochet be Ricochet again. Mm-hmm. And I said all along, after the dream of Black and Gold died, and you can do stuff on TakeOver if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let's go. Once that was like dead and he went to the main roster and he can't really do that kind of thing. Like promotion, performer, not a good match. He kind of belongs in AEW realistically.
And he settled into that too, didn't he? He was like, I'm not going to throw everything away on...
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good that one of the modern greats, you could argue, certainly one of the modern sensations, has found the place where he can potentially become that again. Also, in the pretty toxic, bad faith, constant churn that is being in AEW, you're going to get some social media inadvertent gold from Ricochet. kind of already started because this pat is woeful.
It is trash.
It's trash. So if you've missed it, if you are fortunate enough, not to suffer an addiction to X/Twitter, Ricochet and Kyle Fletcher have been building this match with a verbal spat, and it's been pathetic. You had a crap championship reign with that WWE Speed title. What's that about? It's rubbish. Well, more people watch my matches than you. It's
swinging a lot of little worms.
He's getting it wrong already.
Yeah,
and he's got that brain Ricochet where it's like, I don't think he's ever going to get it right. He's got a full part in him. I don't think.
Is he piped for this though?
The match is going to be stupid, and I mean that as an absolute earnest compliment. There's going to be some moves in here, right, where the same Ricochet who's been in WWE for like 8 years or whatever it was, just going to do it better, but it's going to be bad. This match is going to be stupid. You're going to see those bumps where it's like, why have you turned into Fusilli? Why have you just smashed your head on that canvas and your body's gone the other way from like a DDT or whatever? Lunatic stuff, I think this could be just incredible. Stupid, maybe familiar, but breathless and incredible all the same.
It's familiar they've got a dodge, isn't it? Because Ricochet didn't feel familiar on Sunday.
He felt like the best version of that sort of thing.
And he's got to kind of keep that momentum going as long as he can. I haven't done this homework yet, but I'm going to
Who do you think wins, sorry?
I think Ricochet might steal this one, Sidge. I haven't done this homework yet, but I intend to, but I welcome others to do it too.
I'm kidding.
I wonder if tonight, because still, to this point, one of my favourite Ospreay matches in AEW was what? His first Dynamite against?
Carl Fletcher.
I wonder if they will watch that tape, and because Ricochet can do what Ospreay can do, and that's going to be the subtext for his entire AEW run until they wrestle, which is why, and there's a Q&A video coming that me and Murray did, we both sort of think, you got to race this match, get to it ASAP. I thought they might even just do it on a Dynamite, the ultimate graphic drop. He's here. Here you go.
There you go.
Straight away. But people will be thinking about this match until it happens. As you say, Fletcher's the bridge. It's obviously happening very soon.
Ricochet maybe doing like a hidden blade or a Stormbreaker or something.
There's going to be a move that I need. Again, I want to go back and rewatch it from that match that Ricochet does that Will Ospreay couldn't hit. And Ricochet hits it. Something like that. Or that's like...
that's why we can rely upon like Excalibur to...
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm probably not going to watch that match back.
Fletcher had the counter for...
Still tired.
Fletcher had the counter for Ospreay, but Ricochet must be quicker.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or maybe something broader like doing the hidden blade or something.
Well, you just start peppering in this idea that like Ospreay thinks he's become the best in the world by not taking the route Ricochet took, but in fact, Ricochet worked harder and smarter, and he's fitter and he's quicker and his neck's in better, whatever. Because even when he fights Ospreay, if you stick a load of kinesio tape on Ospreay, you can tell the story that he's been going too hard. Yeah. And Ricochet is like fresh as a daisy, and he surpassed him in a different way.
Yeah, but you're onto something as well, because this is all based on, I think I don't want to like put words in anyone's mouths or suggest that there's been anything going on, but it was just funny how Ospreay just, maybe it was happenstance, because I think Ricochet went viral or something where it was like, I remember Ricochet like 10 years ago. Jesus Christ, it was like brain.
Whatever happened to him?
Matthew Jackson said that on BTE once. They were doing this bit, and I think it was like 2019 or 2021 or wherever, and like they were doing the thing. I was like, right, let's check how our figures are selling. They would go to like Target or Walmart or whatever, not Target, Walmart, and then there's WWE figures next to it, and Nicholas Jackson just picked up one from Ricochet. Then Matt Jackson's went, whatever happened to that guy?
Oh, God.
It's just funny.
Remember when AEW was so friggin' hot? And those days could be coming again. But like, he only wrestled 3 matches, and he just signed for WWE. And I was like, remember Ben Carter?
There
was certainty that he was going to fail, because it was like, well, there goes that then. He's a Rollins guy, and this company's WWE's broke. Like,
there goes that.
Just say, remember Ben Carter, couldn't you? Yeah. There was definitely that vortex for a bit like there.
But Ricochet sort of went viral, and then Ospreay for like, remember, Ricochet, and then Ospreay was like, yeah, I remember. I based my style on him. I idolized him. He was the absolute man, and people have forgotten. And then maybe that just struck a chord with Ricochet, or maybe he already had an idea that like, I'm done. I want to be Ricochet again. And Ospreay has been hammering this in interviews. I don't know if you're that same guy. There's only one place to prove it. Come on, I idolized you. You're not the same. come and do it. So I think this is a step in that direction. So Ospreay's kind of already telling the story, at least through the media.
I worry, I fear that nobody has yet reached out to 2019 Seth Rollins about this. We already got one of ours. He's King Ricochet.
He's just won the United States title, about which people care.
He's substantially more boring and richer than you, Will.
He's doing the exact same thing, but at half speed and half heat and half drama.
For money or something. Anyway, stomping grounds on pay-per-view.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So from a debut to a return. It's Jamie Hayter's back.
Oh my God.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
Been such a miss. She was, the worst thing about an injury is obviously the injury. The other really bad bit is like it's when it strikes someone. The injury bug. That was Wilborn's. I feel like a dickhead for trivializing it now because she was out for a long time. I'm really sorry. I'm really glad you're back.
He did that ahead of us recapping 25 injured wrestlers. Here we go. Well, it's a very serious neck injury.
He's such a dick, isn't he?
Only he can do the pivot. He forgets that.
No, I don't. I can't do it.
There's only one man in the business who can make that switch.
I can't do it. I'm sorry. Is the fact that she was operating at the absolute peak of her powers. There was not only she was over as hell, she looked the business. I might have told you, like, do you know how I like her lariats? Because she looks like she's about to connect with them before the duck. Yeah, I might have said that once or twice.
Do you remember at the Dynamite taping? So, the Jamie Hayter, is she going to work Double or Nothing thing was a mystery all week.
Yeah.
And the match ended up being this Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 90. She's going out for a while here. This is not good. Do you remember before Dynamite, just to hype the crowd, they played a theme on a loop for like 5 minutes and put on the screen, you could buy it. And it was actually a successful market. It wasn't like the hardest at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
That again. It was brilliant, wasn't it? Like,
but she's back. She doesn't look physically as formidable, but Jesus Christ, she probably wouldn't, depending on the severity of that injury.
Tactic? She does that as well with her comebacks. She likes
I don't know, but either way, she looked like she's hitting still hard. Hayter hits hard, is still in full effect. She's going up against Harley Cameron, which is a Tony Khan 101 signature.
Yeah.
Tedious booking device at this point because it's, she's mates with Saraya, so when she beats her, she's going to have a match with Saraya. I'm not looking forward to either of the matches in terms of their content, just more of the vibe and the relief and the happiness that Hayter's back. Okay, that's Saraya one out of the way, and then she can move into big business.
Yeah.
Like, either division's fine. I mean, Hayter versus Mercedes Moné is my AEW Women's Division dream match of all dream matches. Hayter versus Mariah May, both of them hit hard, There's so much potential. There is so much potential. This is fine. I wish it wasn't wrapped around Saraya because conversations need to be had about her attitude and her output. Neither are good. Both stink, quite frankly.
Yeah. Like a family.
So, yeah, get that out of the way because I don't want Hayter to be brought down by all that.
No, for something that made a lot of sense in Wembley, you don't need it sticking around any longer than a few weeks as an actual program, do you? It was a nice, it's very sort of like you can deliver that as a moment and then just not do the follow-up, but that's never going to happen in AEW, is it? There's obviously going to be a series of matches as a result of what was basically existed to be a Capital M moment at Wembley Stadium, because you could bring Jamie Hayter back any time, but it was important she got a pop she deserved in that building. Something just aside from this, because, I don't need this Saraya thing to last too long. In Harley Cameron, they are addressing the reps issue. She has had some decent losses. I think she gets very quietly a bit better, and that's the only way you do it. Like we just talked about, it was Brock Anderson that said he didn't love the setup because it was TV and nothing.
While you talk, give us 1 second. I'm not ignoring you.
I don't know if he could have got indie dates, maybe, being Brock Anderson. I'm assuming he would have had a bit of name value if he wanted to bring his dad or Cody or whatever, and it didn't happen. But it's an issue, and the growth of the women's division in AEW is not just about 2 matches on Dynamite. It's not just about the champions feeling like they could headline pay-per-views and the like. It's about the whole division growing underneath the top stars. So Jamie Hayter has returned, and she's immediately gone back into a position where, as you say, she can contend for any title. But a Harley Cameron has got to be given the opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
And I think with someone like a Hayter, she's going to get her ass handed to her, but she'll probably be a tiny bit better for it. So I don't think this is, I'm not asked about Jamie Hayter knocking Saraya's head off.
Sorry.
It's all right. Like, I'm not bothered about her knocking Saraya's head off in like an 8-minute back and forth at a pay-per-view. I'm quite pleased that Harley Cameron might get 5 minutes here to sell a little bit more. I don't think it's a waste of time in that respect.
As far as I can tell on Cage Match, Brock Anderson worked about 6 indie dates in his AEW run. Just an observation.
You know?
Yeah.
They've got to get reps. There's got to be an attempt at an undercard.
There are more opportunities for a Brock Anderson than a Harley Cameron on the United States indie circuit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is.
By far. Yeah.
Like, there's so many more men's matches, women's matches. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked about this extensively, so I don't want to, like, intrude on people's time too much. But, Anna Jay did do that Japan run.
Yep.
You know, do that more often. Maybe Holly Cameron can go next. There's got to be different ways of doing it because
Tamello wants back in.
Yeah, there's too many AEW Women's Division wrestlers stagnate as a result of the loop or lack thereof.
Hayter wins, obviously.
Does she?
I don't. They can't do the 50-50 layout. They can't. She's just come back.
Like a very swift, brutal murder. Sticking with the women's division, because I expect one of these to follow the other, and there is the championship celebration for Mariah May. Now, the first live, proper, under the bright lights promo did not go well.
No.
Hopefully, she's got over that bit of, oh Christ, doing it for the first time is always like really nerve-wracking. Hopefully that's sort of subsided. She's got the confidence of absolutely nailing that landing at Wembley Stadium. She's never been more over. She's done the business. Did great business as well.
Great business.
Great bit of business. So hopefully she's got the confidence. She's got the belt. This is, I think there's a lot riding on this. Now it's time to be like, are you a great character in a story or are you an ace figure, champion, can do it all?
Yeah.
The promo, the angle, the match. You've been incredible in the story. You've been incredible in the ring, in the story, in the angles. She's not the finished article. You kind of have to be one if you're going to be the AEW Women's Champion. I'm hoping for a good night for her. But how do you see this playing out? Does Toni Storm come out to get a stepped-up rematch?
Initially, I thought you put Mariah May over to step the rematch up at All Out. I don't think it's going to be quite as soon as that. I do think that's coming. I think it's going to be great. I'd like to see it in something like maybe
Grand Slam?
Grand Slam.
We need something for Grand Slam. Look at that ticket sale.
Like you could do a cage main event similar to how when Thunder Rosa won the belt at St. Patrick's Day Slam.
And then you could establish a rich tradition.
By not really featuring the champion for 6 months afterwards. But no, something like that is absolutely unequivocally the headline sort of attraction, that kind of thing. In the meantime, I think tonight she comes out and celebrates. She is joined/interrupted by Mina Shirakawa, who was there at Wembley to watch Mariah May slap her own mother and brutalise what she believed to be their best friend collectively. And Mariah May just snaps on Mina Shirakawa, and that's your all-out match.
Oh, I like that as well.
So
apparently she is back.
Yeah, happy to abandon
for a while.
Happy to abandon Toni Storm. Get that
Good
match.
to see Mina Shirakawa back, isn't it, Wilborn? That's not here.
But that match, like the stock in that, like AEW put stock into it while she was here for the Forbidden Door build for the Toni Storm match, which was good. The bond between her and Mariah May was already established. Use that, break them up, give Mariah May a first win sort of thing. Another like quite hard-hitting exhibition of what Mariah May does. Toni Storm can have a heart broken all over again watching Mina, her new mate, get beaten up by Mariah May, and then you're on to
I love that. 2 matches instead of 1. And I think that's Tony's way. I think that is, in fact, Tony's way. Right, got one more thing. At time of recording, midday UK anyway, to address, and if something gets added, tough titties. We can't do it. Can't do anything about that.
I did put this online, by the way. It's been 30 years since Shane Douglas threw the belt down. So get Shane flown into, like Tony, loves his ECW law.
Speaking of ECW law, there's a certain title that might be getting retired.
Oh my God, somebody takes it and throws the belt down. Just looking like up at heavens, like this belt that was held by Taz and Sabu, and they can all kiss my ass. The Hook just turns on it.
You know who didn't hold that title? No, who did hold that title?
That'd be a Ridic Flair. Happy 30th, Shane Douglas. That was your moment.
I'll never forgive you for influencing Triple H's main event career, but that's not really your fault.
Yeah, you just bought a Kangol hat one.
Yeah.
I was like, you were just having a nice day at the shops.
Kangol hat, you swore, and you had like Valet and stuff, and you basically were the game before the game was the game.
Shane Douglas saying the F word in the ECW arena was triple gold.
It was triple gold.
Do it again.
Do it again. You're not allowed to do that in wrestling. You are. Right. In the intro to this podcast and the preamble and whatnot, I said that there was something that was announced on Twitter where ordinarily, if I wasn't lost in the feeling, I would have just gone on and went, what's this? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to let it play out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another issue, okay? So announced for Dynamite tonight. 7/8 to this is go ahead. It's Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith, who of course comprise the Learning Tree, teaming with Roderick Strong against the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy.
Sidgwick. What's that for?
I don't know. It's an old alarm. I didn't need it at any point in London. I got up way earlier than this, obviously. What am I doing? I'm turning it off is what I'm doing.
I like it's an old alarm. It's just like, I was really affectionate about the old 1234 ski.
The old 1234 ski. Probably something from like a dinner where I have to time
Sunday.
something.
That would check out.
Anyway, it's gone.
I forgot.
There's no daytime alarm no more.
I forgot it was an 8-man rather than a 6-man. I forgot the strongest line. Was this the undisputed tree?
Yeah, no.
You squash the stables together. I know and gives a toss.
So, versus the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and Hook. What?
He'd be good in the conglomeration, actually.
He will. Yeah. Right. Two things on this, right? So, do you see what Tony Khan tweeted?
Only because you told me. This was on completely under the radar otherwise.
So, Tony Khan tweeted underneath his announcement of this 8-man tag. Sometimes, this is verbatim, sometimes you just have to trust me. I expect this match to rock. Hashtag AEW Dynamite on TBS. This sort of, don't worry guys.
Sorry about Jericho, guys.
Sorry about Jericho. Subtext, barely tweet. Follows, and this isn't the first time it's happened to do with Chris Jericho. I promise it's over after this one. What a wonderful way of selling a big match. Mm-hmm. It'll be all over after this. I promise we're done. We're done. Yeah. That happened when Claudio beat Jericho for the ROH title at Final Battle 2022 because it had just dragged on and on and on, this JAS versus BCC feud. I distinctly remember, which was paid off. This War for the Soul for AEW was paid off at ROH Final Battle. I distinctly remember Moxley being Moxley in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Saying, we know this sucks and you're bored of it. It's finished at ROH by the pay-per-view. I'll see you later, guys. That Chris Jericho's got a habit of dragging out his feuds that no one really wants to see that much anymore, and then having to say, right, it's definitely done, it's definitely done. So this 1-2 punch of, don't worry, guys, at Wembley, it's done, you're out the vortex. Like, it's like a promise that it ends. It's like you don't want it to end. You're meant to watch the big match on pay-per-view and think, oh, God, this can't come soon enough. You don't want to go, oh, thank God, that'll be over. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
And that, combined with Tony Khan basically saying, look, I know it's Jericho and Hook interacting again. I know it's Jericho full stop, but just trust us. I think it's going to be good. What an indictment of Chris Jericho that is, for starters. When Jericho himself knows, Tony Khan knows what a busted flush he's got in Jericho at this point. It's sad. Mm-hmm. It's pathetic. I'm trying not to, I am buzzing about AEW right now, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But copium, huffing it.
Yeah.
Tony Khan saying, sometimes you just have to trust me. I expect this match to rock. Mm-hmm. Is there anything in this other than the conglomeration I goated? Is there going to be some kind of angle tacked onto it? There's got to be a reason why he's just reneging on the promise of, but you left.
Yeah.
So is there an angle, or is he just thinking, well, it's conglomeration, 6 or above is always goated with them two? Why is this match happening when they've explicitly said, I'm not making this up, Emma. They explicitly said Jericho and Hook is Dunsky Jones.
No, you've just got to be...
After All Out. So what is the surprise, or what's the reason why it's happening?
You've just got to believe this sentence really is a sentence of two halves, isn't it? And not just, trust me, guys, the match is going to rock. It's like, we know that. It's not about, like, we need to split this in half to have the faith that this is worth booking. Because the match will rock. It's just, like you said, the conglomeration matches are never bad. So I think this is going to be a fun watch. But with Chris Jericho, and especially a Chris Jericho that's finally just lost and can be gotten out of the way, but again, it needs to be more than just a fun match. Does the learning tree, is it tonight? Do they kick him out? Do Big Bill and Brian Keith turn him? Is it like one defeat too many? Is it Big Bill took that hilarious bump through the table just days after being the biggest star in the world. Brian Keith's getting choked out by Taz. Like, the evidence is there that Chris Jericho's no JC Jane for these people.
Yes.
It's not gone that well.
NXT, wherever you get your podcast from.
Although not today, ironically enough. Sorry about that, but we'll be back next week.
Unfortunately, sorry about that.
Yeah. It's not... This is that wrestling thing, isn't it? Where, like, every now and then you do actually have to think of the logic. And sidling up to him has done them a no good.
No good at all.
So is this where you pay that off? And I am once again asking for Chris Jericho to be written off television. But even if he's not written off television, the end of the learning tree, and that gives this sense of like, the village can rejoice again, that like your faves have been saved, and it's something like that.
Yeah.
An angle that does that. What else Jericho has done whenever there has been a sort of sense that, but that's finished, is the very formation of the JAS came as part of like a big swerve turn, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was a big angle when that finally happened.
Yeah.
And people were ready for Chris Jericho to move on and move forward and whatever. So whether or not, and I don't think Tony Khan says something like that without him and Jericho having had a conversation. Jericho's too close to the top table.
Of course not.
He's not logging on.
Way too close.
He's not logging on and seeing that his boss has been shooting on him.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that scenario either. So either a write-off or a significant development moves. I'd like Chris Jericho to move in one direction, but at least it moves him away into a new one.
Yeah. It's just odd as well that it's just wanting to, you just have to trust me. I know you don't want to see this, but just trust me. It's so, like, they have to have some introspection at some point about what the hell are we doing here.
You shouldn't be doing a Dynamite graphic drop with it. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. No, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And another thing that makes me huff that copium is Tony Khan has got previous of like alluding to something big happening.
Yes.
And he's kind of doing that here, but I recall it won't be as big, obviously, but I remember ahead of a certain incredible TV match, ironically enough, involving Chris Jericho in July, August 2022, said, if you miss Quake by the Lake, it will be a regret you won't forget.
I love that phrase. Really popped me at the time.
And it was, basically, I think the Punker's going to come back, and the Punker came back, and Hamflett came, and
5-star match for me.
It was unbelievable.
It was one of the best AEW matches ever.
Yeah,
ever.
Absolutely fantastic. So this feels like it's got that kind of, something's happening, don't worry, guys, energy. But guys, are you worried? What do you think's happening, if anything? Do you trust Tony Khan? Let us know in the comments section on X to this podcast post at WhatCulture WWE. Whilst you're there, you can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow me at M. Sidgwick. And you can also not hear the NXT review, I'm afraid. A lot of obligations got in the way of that. Adam Wilborn's absence had little to do with it. Don't blame him.
It's still wacky summer.
It's still a little bit of wacky summer stuff going on. So apologies for that. But thank you very much for listening today. We should hopefully be back for the Dynamite review tomorrow. Please join us for that. Hopefully we'll resume to some kind of normality later on in the week. But for now, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me, Michael Hamflett, and we will see you soon.